Brock, obviously contemplating a strategy for the run to the first corner. And if it's going to be successful, it will have to entail leading, because Dick Johnson is very, very quickly away from the mark. Another of the Marlborough Circuit of Champions group is Dick Johnson. Peter Brock also. They're lining up. 32nd board about to come up now as Johnson and Peter Brock bring their cars up.
I noticed something, Mike, further back in the field. There are 3 cars side by side. That shouldn't be. They've been put in the wrong place, and that'll be very difficult in the middle of the field. But it's no more now than 10 seconds to go for the start.
Engine starting to rev, and the noise is reverbing back through the packed grandstand here at Sandown Park. Countdown into 5 seconds. Flag about to go up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Go, and they're racing, and it's Johnson who wins the jump, but Moffat down the outside. Peter Brock this time, and now it's Moffat with Bartlett down the inside as well. Still Dick Johnson, and has he done it? Brock gets the old squeeze going into the first corner, and Bartlett comes up on the inside. We've got a real race going here. Dick Johnson leads. Now Bartlett selects another gear, and that takes care of the Mazda for a second or so. Moffat moves to the outside. Johnson wins the jump. Moffat on the outside this time of the Camaro into Arco corner on the approach to the back straightaway. Let's see if they've all come out of it. Yes, Johnson leads coming out. Now it's Bartlett charging back down the inside of Alan Moffat and the Falcon, and Brock's caught in here with Warren Cullen. One heck of a nice going.
A great start as far as Alan Moffat is concerned. A disaster for Peter Brock, because he's got Moffat's Mazda in front of him and he can't get past him. Johnson is racing away with this.
Into the S's. Kevin Bartlett in second place. Alan Moffat is in third place, and now moving right on the tail of Kevin Bartlett. He's going to put plenty of pressure back on Bartlett. Of course, Peter Brock's caught up behind those two. The only chance that Peter Brock has got is on the Sandown straight, and they're coming under the Dunlop Bridge. Watch for Brock's move on the inside. Let's listen to the crowd erupting here as Johnson streaks down the straightaway. Now it's Peter Brock who makes the outside move on Alan Moffat going into Repco corner. I don't think he'll win this braking, Jules. No, Moffat still leads into third place, and Peter Brock closely back and gets a little tap and throws his arm out at Alan Moffat as well, out of his way. We have a real race going here. Bartlett second, Moffat third, Peter Brock is fourth, Warren Cullen is fifth, and now Brock moving down the inside.
Every time I put my helmet on, I want to win, and I want to do well for the sponsors that make it possible for us to win. And in that respect, it's a joy to drive the little rotary.
Might be a joy to drive the little rotary, but he's going to be kept honest today, and he's going to keep a few more of the big-name drivers honest. Oh, we've had one of the entrants has had problems. It looks like it...
Bob Holden, is it, in the Escort? Yes, Bob Holden, the man who won at Bathurst in '66. He's blown the car, I'd say.
Dick Johnson leads. Second place being held down by Kevin Bartlett. Peter Brock now coming up, going back after the race leader Dick Johnson, and Alan Moffat is sitting right in behind them with Warren Cullen just a little off the pace, about 10 or 15 metres back in fifth place. Johnson, Bartlett, Brock, Moffat. That's the order for round one of the 1982 Australian Touring Car Championship at Sandown Park.
Oh, somebody else has had it there on the inside.
Holden car.
They skirt wide.
I think it may still be the same car, just expiring rather slowly.
Well, that dice for second and third has opened it up for Dick Johnson. He's established a very commanding position going up through Rothmans this time.
A great start from Moffat, a disaster though for everyone else, because he put Brock behind him and he's now almost out of touch. He's got to get by Kevin Bartlett. That'll be hard because KB drives hard and fast, very fair, but he's got a big car and he'll use all the road he's entitled to. And it'll be a great battle watching these two. Alan Moffat will get a first-class view of it because he's very close. Peter Jansen, the yellow car coming through the bend, he had a bit of a disaster in the first race and expired before he covered one lap, but he's going well now in a car which is really a pretty old machine now, and he's getting a new car for later in the year, and he's trying to give it a bit of a go, I think, and see what he can get from it. He's running back in fifth place. Brock, seeing whether he can outbrake. He said he won't outrun him because they haven't got the legs, but he's going on the inside, decides there's nowhere to go there, just pokes his nose out to remind Kevin Bartlett he's around.
Straight away breakaway speed, not a great deal between Kevin Bartlett and Peter Brock. Alan Moffat just sitting off them after playing cat amongst the pigeons there for the opening lap and a half. Bartlett goes through Arco, the left-hander. Now Moffat closes it up on the back of Peter Brock, and Brock is on the bumper of Kevin Bartlett. A real race for second, third and fourth.
Moffat, I think, wisely biding his time now, content to sit there just for the moment and see what these two in front of him do, because if either of them make a mistake, he's going to be through before you can see which way he went.
Peter Brock has got a real dilemma here. He hasn't got the acceleration to get by the Chevy Camaro out of corners. He can't out-corner him because Kevin Bartlett goes pretty hard. He must be saying, now, where the devil can I get by him? Because here's a car with fairly similar characteristics to my own. It's a slightly lower car than the Camaro. People talk about the big Chev, but it's a little bit lower than the Commodore, rather. And it is a bit heavier, but it has a bigger engine. It'll take a power of passing. And, of course, in Kevin Bartlett, he has a man without peer in terms of experience and racecraft. Brock now going for the outside. Bartlett on the inside, but he'll move across. He'll take the quick line through the corner. There he goes. Gets a good view of Peter Brock in the mirrors.
A little skatey getting into that corner, and a little bit skatey getting out of the corner, and Alan Moffat now moves up right on the tail of Peter Brock. Still Bartlett second. Brock is third, and look at Moffat right behind Peter Brock.
You know, Mike Raymond, Moffat has made a great deal about the reliability of the Mazda, but the big trick with this car is its lightweight and its great braking, and he's using that braking to devastating effect, leaving his foot off the pedal till the last possible moment and closing up on the big V8s. And it's Alan Moffat's daring and the lightweight of the Mazda that's giving him the real advantage here, and he's going to give these two a bad time before this race is over.
A little bit of Daytona drafting there as they went over the rise with Kevin Bartlett in the 9 Camaro, and sitting right on his bumper, of course, is Peter Brock. A little back behind them is Alan Moffat, but he really has to have the car wide up through some of the cement dust there.
I reckon they're catching Dick Johnson, Mike.
They could be, because Bartlett certainly picked the pace up. Brock is close now, though. Look at the spectators in Sandown's grandstand, really stirring Moffat on, and also Peter Brock to get out and pass Kevin Bartlett.
4.2 seconds, the gap between the first and second car. One could say between the first and third.
Bartlett still holding down second place, just ahead of Brock. Moffat parked in behind them, but it's Dick Johnson out in front. Less than 11 laps to go at the present time. 4.2 seconds is the margin between Johnson and Bartlett. You can't measure the distance between Bartlett and Brock. There's just not enough space.
Bartlett gets away a little bit, has used those slower cars to a bit of an advantage over Peter Brock. You can see the gap there between himself and Brock. And as Evan said, I think they are gaining a little on Dick Johnson as they go into the middle stages of the race. There's Johnson. He's already managed to pass those slower cars. Bartlett, right behind him is Peter Brock, who has to tuck in, and Moffat caught on the outside. Now, if there's a chance to pass, it's going to be down the straight.
The Penrith Mazda coming into the pits. Not all the Mazdas enjoying the success of Alan Moffat. He's really flying the flag with the stiffest possible flutter. That was Terry Shield in the pits. Alan Moffat's out on the track right behind this pair.
Well, that's a tickle away for Peter Brock. Under 10 to go. Dick Johnson really doing it well. The True Blue Falcon out in front. Cutthroat war going on between Bartlett and Brock. And Brock really, I mean, he's got no chance of hauling Johnson in unless he can get around Bartlett, and Bartlett's determined that that is not going to happen.
Well, he certainly won't catch him up the hill here because the Chevy has the legs. These how they are after 6 laps. It's a race over 16 laps, so there's still 10 to go. And you can see the gap, 3.6 seconds, so they've gained 0.6 of a second on the leader.
Only 0.3, though, between Bartlett and Brock. They've managed to pull away just a little bit now from Alan Moffat, who was right on their tail earlier.
The significant thing, Gary, is that if they can maintain that 0.6 of a lap margin, they will get up on his tail before the race is over. So we might get these two getting close to the man we're seeing now. Dick Johnson is leading. Of course, Johnson, knowing he's got a margin, may just have backed off marginally. He's certainly driving a very comfortable race, but comfortable is not the word you could use for the scrap between Brock and Bartlett. Brock is trying for the outside. Bartlett is just tantalising him. He said, there's the road, do what you can. He knows he can't get by. He comes sweeping in to take the line, and Brock has to be content with that view of the wide yellow tail right in front of him. as they sweep past the pits with 9 laps to go.
Warren Cullen, in the meantime, is still holding down 5th position, and Murray Carter has moved into 6th ahead of Peter Jansen.
I think Kevin Barton is intent on moving that Armco out of Arco corner just out about another 3 metres with some of the slides he's pulling through the left-hander at Arco. But here he comes along the back stretch up to Rothman's Rise and stretching just a little bit over Peter Brock. Brock is quick from this part of the track, closes up on Bartlett. As you can see there, they were making ground on Dick Johnson. Johnson is probably 150 metres ahead of him.
If he has a weakness, Mike, I'd say that corner is where the Chevy kicks out. It's not Kevin, it's the fact he's got a tail-heavy car and maybe a bit of a tyre problem with this tremendous heat. He's got a heavy car and the tyres will be going off. Peter Brock will have noticed it twice now. Kevin Bartlett's gone wide there. He said, OK, his back tyres are going off. I'll give him a go. Just really pressing to get these tyres so warm that they don't burst. Now, will Brock keep on going on that line? I don't think so. No, he moves across. But I think he knows he's got a bit of a chance now because the tyres are starting to go off to Kevin Bartlett's car.
8 laps to go, and he certainly doesn't need to give it a go.
While we watch them, let me just run through the field because we can't show the others and we don't want to leave this dice between these leaders. We know the first 3. It's Johnson, then it's Bartlett, then it's Brock, and they've got Alan Moffat right behind, dropping back a little bit, but still within 2 seconds. The next car is car number 12. That's Warren Cullen in the Commodore. In car 18,
Murray Carter.
Brock moves up. Murray Carter, yes, great Murray Carter. He really does turn in magnificent efforts. Then it's car 3. Which I can't find.
Peter Jansen.
Peter Jansen. Oh, car 8 it must be. And car 4, which is Alan Brown in the Commodore. Number 8, Gary Wilmington in the Falcon. And number 27, which is Stephen Harrington from Tasmania in the Roadways Commodore. And at 55, the first of the class cars, George Fury in the Nissan Australia turbocharged Bluebird. The car going very well, but about half a lap behind these, giving away a lot of capacity, 1800 cc's, but turbocharged, and a pretty good rundown effort, I'm sure, as far as the Nissan racing team is concerned. But the action is up front. And it's Dick Johnson who's leading it. You can see his pursuers there, one of them about to gather in a strong bow, I'd say, as he licks up one of the slightly slower Mazdas. Brock right behind and getting increasingly frustrated, I think. You can see again how Kevin Bartlett running the tail out there. Didn't want to, but he just can't control it. Those tyres are hot and they're starting to lose grip. And now if there's to be a move made on Kevin Bartlett by Peter Brock, he'll be up on the S's up the top, I'd say, because he will try and provoke him into a tail slide. Let's see what happens. In the meantime, as they go up the back straight, it's Johnson out on the right of the track and going flat out as he passes some of the slower traffic.
Well, Johnson's played it smart and he's had the car to do it. He's been the first man off the grid and he's highballing in front and hasn't got the worries of a cutthroat dice with anybody else on the track. He's leaving Bartlett and Brock to do that. They're the placings. Johnson in the True Blue Falcon, car 17 in front, 4.2 seconds ahead of the Camaro of Kevin Bartlett.
Kevin held it fairly well that time, just touching the dirt, but the tail still sliding a bit. Peter Brock is quicker through there, and this is where he's trying to make his move, but Bartlett has the power. He puts it down. Brock taking a tight line there, being a little untidy just to try and sharpen up the corner and get through. Immediately Kevin rolls to one side to break the toe, and they're playing real ducks and drakes here, swinging across the track. He doesn't want to give him the aerodynamic benefit of towing him on, but he's giving him the best line if only Brock had the legs. But he's just once again saying, OK, pass me if you can. He knows he can't get by, and Brock is content once more with that wide yellow view in front of his bonnet. He'll be trying to get a very fast line, Will Brock, through here, just to get the pace to get out and counter the extra 700 cc's of the car. Look how that tail is starting. His tyres are going. Brock gained himself maybe a couple of foul there. Gets up tight. He'll be wound up. He's a little bit quicker up here as he has the revs out of the corner. It all counts. And this is where he might make a move. Bartlett's not going to give. How good are the brakes? How good are the tyres? Those are the questions in both men's minds as they come over the top of the Rothmans Rise.
There now that another lap or two of hard pushing like this, and the opening might just come for Brock. Just over 5 laps to go. So he really is only going to get one chance probably, and when it comes, he'll have to grab it with both hands and run.
Kevin Bartlett has slowed down a little bit on that corner. He's doing it very cleverly. He doesn't want to slide the car. He's just saving a few hundreds there just to try and conserve the tyres. He's content to see Peter Brock move up on the tail. He knows he can out-accelerate him, or at least keep in front. And he's walking Brock through that corner just slightly, just to try and cool the tyres down and save them for the last few laps. They only have another 5 to go.
Kevin Bartlett still in second. Peter Brock third. Alan Moffat is fourth. We picked them up coming on to the short straight on the approach to the left-hander at Arco. Dick Johnson still with a very firm hold on this race. Brock with it.
One of the Nissan Bluebirds there, the turbocharged cars, pulling over to the left, doing a stunning performance for a class car, giving away so much size in terms of engine capacity. Doesn't have the power though, and you can see it there being passed by Alan Moffat with his peripheral ported rotary, who scoots away. But certainly we're going to see more turbocharged cars in ladder racing, you can be sure of that. Car 55, the George Fury driven car for Nissan Australia. A very distinct straw in the wind for the types of cars we're going to see.
Telltale signs of just a little brake lock-up from Brock there on a couple of occasions. A problem he did suffer in the first heat earlier in the day as well. That was checked, but obviously they still need some adjustment there to get things set just right. Still clinging to the tail of Bartlett.
And throwing that Commodore around through the S's. But Bartlett at this stage
gets away there.
Gets away from him in the straight, and Moffat now starting to make his move. He's starting to close on them a little bit more. Slower car, getting a little bit of swish there from Peter Brock. Didn't leave him any room, and he didn't have to either. There's Moffat coming through behind those.
I think both these cars might be suffering from being involved in such a heavy duel situation that's escaping as far as Johnson's concerned. He's having a nice run, which he can do at his own pace. But we've had Kevin Bartlett flinging the car very heavily and probably upsetting the tyres a bit. We've had Peter Brock braking very heavily where he goes deeper into the corners and maybe doing some damage as far as his brakes are concerned. And both cars probably in a bit of distress because they've been battling so strongly against each other. In the meantime, the lead by Johnson, the Queenslander, is now 4.5 seconds, so he's not being caught. He's maintaining the lead he had some laps ago.
Bartlett and Brock continue to battle, and as we said before, this is the shape of things to come for the 82 season with Moffat poised right on their tails, waiting for the mistake. It's going to be a rip-roarer. Well, we just mentioned Moffat, and what about that man and his aspirations for the 82 season?
How important is the 1982 season to you, Alan Moffat? You've been racing for a long time now. Your first race at Sandown back in 1964.
Well, Evan, your statistics are too good. I don't like to think that far back. Every season is important to me. I wouldn't get in the car if I didn't want to try hard and go well. I've got a terrific product, and we're looking forward, certainly with our reliability factor, to finish the races. And if you finish, you've always got a chance to win. So we'll be trying hard.
He doesn't know any other way, does he?
No, he doesn't. You know, the effort of trying hard, Gary, really can result in some exhaustion today. It's terrifically hot out there. You look at Peter Brock, who's running in third place. You notice on the straights he's got his hand out the mirror. Oh, there's Peter Jansen retiring from the second heat. He'll be disappointed, but he has a new car coming. George Fury retiring the turbo Datsun. The heat would have been the last thing that team manager Howard Marsden wanted, because the turbo was a hot engine to start with. And today's 37 plus degrees. There's the battle between Bartlett and Brock. So watch Brock make another view. You see his hand out the side of the car. I thought at first he was shaking his fist. What he's doing, there it is, he's getting air. I'm sure he's trying to drag air into the compartment. He's suffering from the heat, I'd say, because he's following that car. There's no air coming in because he's in the hot air of that Chev, and he'd be driving in an oven. That would be a most uncomfortable run for Peter Brock. No air in the engine of the car, and no air coming in the cabin. You watch on the long straights. He puts his hands up. Bob Moffat went very wide then, by the way, and lost a bit of time back there. You may just have seen the match to go up on the dirt, and he will have dropped back another 40 metres, but he still holds on to a strong fourth place. Brock trying to get out from behind the air of the Chevy, gets to one side, got his hand out the side bit, then pulls it in because it slows the car down. There's tremendous force when they're doing a speed of something like, well, let's talk in old terms, 150, 160 miles an hour up the straight. They're going very quickly.
Well, Dick Johnson, the race leader, but this is where the real race is at the moment, and has been for much of the event. This tremendous battle for second place between Bartlett and Brock. Only just over a lap to go, in fact, for the race leader, Dick Johnson. Is there time yet for Brock to get through here and snare second place ahead of Bartlett in the 9 Camaro? Moffat dropping back just a little now in the Mazda RX-7. Not sufficient time for him, I wouldn't think, to mount a challenge on the other two for this minor end of the prize money. on the last lap for Dick Johnson, and also now for Bartlett and Brock.
We've certainly covered the race in every aspect as far as Kevin Bartlett and Peter. Oh, full-tail slide job by Kevin Bartlett. Brock was a little skatey too, getting into the Repco corner down here, so I think that their tyres have gone off a little. But Dick Johnson has done a stir. Oh, Bartlett just shaving the trees down there in the Armco. That may have given Brock his only chance to catch up a few metres. Now, the only place he can capitalise is on the back straight.
The place we should watch, though, I think, Mike, will be up on the bench, because there's no doubt that the tyres are going off the big Chevy Camaro.
Well, this is the last chance, isn't it? Coming up now, they're just about to go through Rothmans, Bartlett and Brock. There they are, and it's Brock's last chance. Johnson out in front of them will take the checkered flag.
Bartlett will need all his experience to try and conserve the car. The tyres are going up. You can see there he's going very slowly to avoid spinning. He's got Brock right in his tail. He'll slow Brock down, and Brock will be cursing there because he just can't get by, and he won't have the legs to out-accelerate him. And as they come through the bends, it'll be the Chevy Camaro in front. Now, can Pete Brock get up? It's Johnson who takes the flag. A great win for the Queenslander. And who'll get second place? That's how they finish. The Chevy Camaro of Kevin Bartlett just in front of Peter Brock in the Holden Commodore. And if that's the way it's going to be, Mike Raymond, it's going to be a good year.
I think it's going to be a fantastic season. Obviously, the highlight race of the program here at Sandown today, the first race between the touring cars, was just as thrilling. And the battle, of course, that raged between Kevin Bartlett and Peter Brock, indicating, no doubt, that we're in for a great season of the Touring Car Championship. Don't take anything away at all from Dick Johnson, who had to get off the line first.
Hey, he did it the smart way. He did it the smart way.
Yeah, let it.
Didn't get involved in all that scrapping and all that hullabaloo. Dick could be smiling. I mean, he really has done it pretty easy under the circumstances.
Well, he won the Touring Car Championship last year and was awarded the James Hardy Classic at Mount Panorama. One race that he's obviously looking forward to going back to later in the year. He'll be appearing at Amaroo Park at Channel 7's next televised motorsport meeting out of Sydney in March. And I think Dick Johnson would be very satisfied indeed with his performance today. And what a great battle Alan Moffat, particularly on some of these smaller tracks such as Amaroo Park. He's going to be on equal terms with Dick Johnson.